just let me get something clear about the gossip. Yeah, I've noticed the chat has reduced in numbers. So what you're saying is because what happened there?
What happened there? What?
Yeah, like all the personalities you said.
Yeah,
What happened?
they abandoned ship. They abandoned ship. They dumped X. They dumped X. They are calling X to dump for below 1 cent. They are
Or
polarizing
maybe they're
people
just
to
taking a
dump X.
vacation.
They're polarizing people to dump X in another chat room. All these prostitutes, Profex, Walrus, Pepe, Rednecks, all these fucking whores, right? They're polarizing people to sell their X because they are saying that they are going to rebuy it below 1 cent, right? And they are mocking people who staked for 15 years, right? Remember them like 6 months ago? Like preachers of the X religion. They were just fucking lying. They were just cheating. They were just pumping the coin in order to dump it down the road, which they did. And then abandon ship.
No. Don't blame the game.
Don't fucking tell me no. Don't fucking tell me no. I'm getting the room with them every day.
No. You can't talk to me that way because I've heard this chat for at least more than 1 year.
Maybe you are one of the prostitutes that is there. The back builder.
No, I'm here.
Here.
I don't know what's going on. I'm not in the
chat room.
Stuff. No, I'm not in the internal stuff. I'm just an observer. I do my job, stake and sit on my ass, and then sometimes I talk in this chat. But I'm not, involved in all this shit. But yeah, what's going on? And how did you become from a hater to
I have never been a hater. You called me a hater because I heard questions. I was being banned.
Heard you, man.
What did you heard me, man? A hater. Hater.
You should be an actor in Latin American television shows, man. Because
you are No. You are confusing me. You are confusing me with convicted. You are confusing me with convicted. Convicted came here many times with my name. Calling himself Top Cat. Wasn't me. Right?
Dude, I am like Hannibal. I have an excellent auditory sense. I actually know when people are on pitch or off pitch in musical terms. So I recognize your voice. You could change your name 1,000 times. It's you, man. And what I wanted to ask you is, how did you come to that conclusion? And I think you came to that conclusion before the bubble burst, no?
What conclusion?
Yeah, you were a Hex hater. I saw how people blocked you and like, oh my God, Top Cat and everything, and suddenly they gave you forum.
What Top Cat said? No, you remember people blocking me. That's what you remember.
I remember. You hate it.
You don't remember shit about what I said.
I remember.
One thing is remembering me being blocked. Another thing is remembering me about what I said. Right? You remember me being blocked, and that's it. You don't remember my words. And that's a shame.
I remember your questions. And I think your questions.
What were my questions?
Okay, let me tell you my experience if you want to know.
What were my questions, motherfucker?
Okay.
What were my questions?
Right, take it easy, dude.
What were my questions?
Easy, bro.
My questions were legitimate questions.
Take it easy.
I still have the same questions about this project. This doesn't make me a hater of this project. Right? But all those prostitutes call a ban on me because I raised these questions. Because they wanted to people don't raise questions that might create doubt about the project. Right? And now they are gathered in a room saying all the shit about the project. And they're raising even worse questions about the project. This makes them a prostitute. because I have a
Top
spine.
that.
I keep my profile. I keep my questions.
Keep
I
it
my
scientific
spine,
and not emotional.
right?
Keep it scientific and data driven and not emotional. Since I've heard you, let me tell you. For okay, yeah, like for a while ago, I've heard you, and you're very emotional, but not factual,
But
and
I'm not a
that's what
liar.
we need in the
I'm
market.
emotional, but I'm not a fucking bag of lies, right? Not a prostitute,
I don't
right?
know how. I mean, listen. I am a Mexican, not involved in all the shit you say. I just use the product as it is. I told you a while ago that the market is in capitulation. All the shit projects, not your keys, not your coins. Did you watch the Fox Business interview? Now, within Hex, yes, I've seen people go within sub tribes.
Like them?
Sub tribes.
Feel good?
Okay. And the sub tribes are inevitable, monsieur. But keep your fundamental due diligence.
Where
But
are
listen, did you
the
watch
priests?
the Fox
Where are
Business
the
interview?
priests, the preachers?
Did you watch the
Where are
Fox
the
Business
preachers?
interview? Yes or
These
no?
chats,
Did you
look,
watch the Fox
Guys,
Business
stop
interview?
fucking talking over each other or just get out of
I
here.
listened the Fox interview with Richard Art saying the same shit all the time. Every time bear market will be 85% correction for Bitcoin, will always be 85% correction for Bitcoin. Doesn't matter if it will be 1,000 bear markets, will always be 85% correction for Bitcoin. 85% Bitcoin times 69, 85% times 69, it's 11. It's 11. If you do the, I think
I talked to you at my lunch
did you
break.
study the
I
arithmetic?
talked to you at my lunch break.
Let me talk. 0.85
You're
times 69
bipolar, man.
is 11, and that's how I predict 11,000.
I talked to you in my lunch break,
Nobel
and you
Prize
told
for
me
math.
you love Hanks,
Nobel Prize
and
for
we were
math.
talking
Richard
about
Art. Nobel Prize
Warren
for math,
Buffett
Richard Art.
and Warren
85%.
Buffett and Charlie Munger and
Always
blah blah blah.
85%.
You were super
25%.
bullish, Hex, and then in the afternoon you're bearish. Are you bipolar or what the fuck?
Look,
Because
I've never been
lunchtime,
fucking bearish. What are you talking about? Have I ever been bearish? Are you fucking crazy, man? Bearish me? Never. I'm still.
What is your main issue that you're bringing to the floor right now? What is
main
your
issue?
what is the summary of summarize what you're trying to say in a 30-second soundbite so I can
In 30 seconds. Okay. Why is this chat room so empty? Where are the preachers of this church? The preachers that were always convincing people to stake for 15 years, the preachers like PulseX, Walrus, Rednecks, Pepe, and all these prostitutes, where are they now? They are together in a room saying that they dumped all their X, saying that X is going to below 1 cent. These were the prostitutes that 6 months ago were convincing everybody to stake for 15 years. They were just a bunch of fucking liars without a spine. That's the summarize of it. And maybe you are one like them.
Top Cat. I haven't sold any of my HEX. And you want to know what? I have liquid HEX. But
Well,
the price
I have it too.
The price went down 85%.
In fact, I was buying. I swapped 10 Ether for X at 13 cents. I swapped another 2 Ether for X at 40 cents. And if ever comes to 1 cent, I have another 5 Ether to swap for X.
Okay, so Top Cat, let me ask you a question. So you mentioned it.
That was the guy being banned here, right? The guy being banned here for asking why the market cap is so high. For asking why the fucking market cap was so high, right? This guy is saying now that this shit is dumping and I'm buying because I believe in the project. I just don't believe that will do 10,000x. Maybe it will do 15, 20x. I was banned to saying this as well.
So what do you want? You want kudos that you said something? I mean, what do you want? So number one, you shouldn't be calling anybody a prostitute because they were in here sharing their thoughts on a token. As a man, you make investment decisions. You make investment decisions on your own.
A man should have a spine, or he's a rat. And if
You
are
make
defending those
fucking
prostitutes, you are a
investment
rat
decisions
just like
on your
them.
own, Top Cat. Take your own personal responsibility or shove it up your ass. There's no one in here that convinced you to push the fucking button but yourself. Why are you trying to put your investment
get the point,
decisions-
did you? You didn't get the point, did you?
No, you're coming in here calling good people.
Don't worry
prostitutes.
about what I bought or I didn't buy. I'm not.
No, you're
I'm not
coming
complaining
in here
about what I bought.
calling people
I'm not complaining
prostitutes.
about it
Why are you
Right?
calling them prostitutes?
because a
Why?
prostitute is somebody who doesn't have a spine, just like they don't have.
No. Why
Right?
are you
That-
calling these people prostitutes?
Why? Because they were banning people for raising questions, and now for raising questions, the same questions that they are now together in a room, raising them themselves and mocking people who stake for 15 years when they were onboarding people to stake for 15 years. That's a prostitute. That's what a prostitute does, right? That's what the fuck they are.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. That's
You're
what
out
you
of
are.
your mind.
That's what you do. That's what you do. You convince idiots to stake for 15 years and then you just mock them because they did. You think this is right?
I think you're way
Fuck you. Fuck
out of
you,
alignment.
motherfucker. Go fuck yourself.
You're out of alignment, Top Cat. You're way too over emotional, man. Look, did you stake for 15 years because PulseX or somebody told you?
Not. And I was complaining about them telling people to stake for 15 years, and I was banned because of it.
Nobody.
Fuck up because he's a
Only if I
fucking
was
irresponsible
stupid, I would stay
motherfucker.
for 15 years. Only
Top Cat,
stupid
I was talking to you in a respectful manner, and you are disrespectful. So
Only
get the fuck out of here.
would stake for
Get the
15 years.
fuck out of here.
Obviously, I didn't stake for 15 years, but I staked for 6
What's
months,
the problem?
and maybe I will stake one day for 1 year.
Or
but
maybe
never
you
for
don't
15
stake at
years.
all. Maybe you don't stake at all, man. Right? Like
No,
it's not.
I'm not. Look, I'm not lying. You don't get me, man. You still don't get me. I don't
Okay.
lie, man.
There's
don't
no
have to lie,
requirement to
man. I
stake.
don't have to lie. If I
There's
say
no
I'm stake,
requirement
if I
to
say I
stake
have a
in HEX.
giant stake for 6 months, it's because I have a stake for 6 months, right?
It doesn't
Otherwise,
matter.
I
There's
say I
no
have a stake for 6
requirement.
months.
There's no
Because
requirement.
I'm not a
There's no
prostitute. Because if I was a
There's no
prostitute, I would
requirement.
say that I have
There's
a
no
chunk for
requirement to
15
fucking
years
stake your HEX, Top Cat.
while I don't have anything staked. The prostitutes
That's
lie
okay.
like
So
this.
what the fuck is your point?
The
He's
point is,
discouraging
don't lie,
guys. Get him out of here.
don't lie to people. Don't be a crew. Don't be a crew of scammers onboarding people into something you don't believe.
You're a salesperson, Top Cat, and you do not know how to do due diligence and not look with facts. You love Warren Buffett. He's a 90-year-old fucking guy who said crypto is a poison rat industry. You don't even know what you're talking about. Do your fucking due diligence. And we were talking respectfully. And Top Cat, listen to me before you go and get banned. You should respect people who are talking to you. And what you said was really offensive, and calling people prostitute is not acceptable for me and will never be acceptable.
Then don't be a prostitute. Then
Do
don't
not,
be a prostitute.
do not offend the community because it's a huge effort, and your due diligence sucks. You have not talked about facts.
Look,
You're just a salesperson. You're just somebody that just talks. You like to do your choo choo choo. Let's get in the fucking train. Who uses that train, motherfucker? I don't use the train, motherfucker.
no, man, Bitcoin. You should never sell Bitcoin to buy this crap called X and Pulsechain. I don't say that.
Nobody uses the train, motherfucker. Nobody uses the train. I'm this fucking
Don't
guy.
sell all your Ether for X. I sold
Top
like
Cat.
10% of my Ether
Cat.
for X, maybe 15%
You know
of my Ether
HEX is
for X.
still up against
But I would
Bitcoin,
never go below
215X,
85%
right?
my Ether. Because I'm not stupid.
Top Cat.
But I have to risk it.
Why are you in here?
I have to take my chances. Then on some project.
Why are you in here, man?
100x.
Why are you in here?
Because I believe this thing can do 100x, and maybe Ether will do
No, he's
120x.
Well, what the fuck are you bitching
I want
about?
to catch a train, but will
What
not
are you
catch
bitching
a
about?
Top Cat is a degenerate
And I want to
gambler.
take
He
it for
needs
15
help.
years.
He's
Right?
a
So don't tell
degenerate
people to stake
gambler.
this shit for 15 years because in 5 years this will not even exist. But you can take the You ride for the next
Cat is a degenerate gambler. He needs help.
Sell it all. It's the best you
Get
can do in
help.
2 years. Sell it all. Get rid of this fucking shit.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Cat, walk away, man. Walk away. Come back in a little bit. Come back when your head's on straight, man. You're all over the place, brother.
So I got my adrenaline running, bro. I mean, his criteria was super stupid.
So all in a 2-second soundbite. They're all prostitutes. It's not going to be here in 5 years. They can do 100x, right?
Topics here, and yeah, exactly.
There's nobody here to defend themselves. He's bringing up Walrus and PulseX and all these guys. I mean, give me a break, man. I've never one time heard PulseX ever tell somebody to do a 555 stake. You know what PulseX does? He answers questions. That's it. He just gives factual, detailed information. That's it.
I can testify to that. Yeah.
He has never told anyone, and neither has Walrus, ever in this chat, and I've been in here from the beginning, to ever, oh yeah, I'm selling it. Go do a 5555, stake all your shit. Not one fucking time. So everything he said is total bullshit.
So offensive, to call people prostitutes. I mean, what the fuck? This guy's out of his line, man.
No, it's just totally out of line. I mean, it's just yelling at everybody. Let's just move on from that. That's just ridiculous. Especially guys like Walrus, man. And you don't.
Yeah, Mandalorian, I like to capitalize any bad situation. For me, that's a signal of capitulation. I don't know what are your thoughts.
You got some people in here that you call prostitutes. I've been in here from the beginning, and never one time ever did I ever hear PulseX tell anybody to make a 5555 stake. He just gave of his time. Oh, but now you don't want to be in here now. Okay. Now you just want to bounce out of the chat.
Yeah, it's like I didn't follow the product. I didn't do the strategy. Now I'm pissed off, and I have to do my ranting. That is what Tomcat, the Top Cat did, and it's so infuriating because for me, I'm just a normal Mexican, and it's so pissing off. Like everybody's suffering. We're seeing everything going on. The Voyagers, the BlockFi, the nations. It's a hard moment. And to see this guy coming in and saying, to call us and to others, because I follow many of the people he said, and I respect. And I do my own due diligence, and I say, dude, these are people that are worth it. And that's what is Hex about. And I'm so sad to see this type of people coming on and ranting about that.
Hey guys, it's been a while since I've been on. Nice to enter into all this fun drama that you guys are having. Real quick, what is everybody's thoughts on timing? I know you guys hear that every day, but are we thinking this is going to wait till we're out of the bear market? Like, is this going to be 6 months, a year? I really don't care either way. I'm just curious, kind of like what the vibe is. Whatever.
What do you mean by timing? What is timing?
So look, there is no vibe, right? Richard's going to launch Pulsechain when the tech is ready. Period. We have no clue when that's going to be. There's not even a speculation at this point as to when it'll be.
Cool. That's all. That was my question. Thanks.
No problem.
You guys can go back to talking about
What's your opinion on Mandalorian on that's a normal phase of capitulation. Where people rant about it, it's a normal phase of capitulation.
I just don't see what the issue is. There is nothing bad going on in the ecosystem outside of just wait for Pulsechain. Hex is doing a normal retracement like every other crypto, down 80+%. That's it. There's no unreasonable, strange anomalies happening in Hex that's not happening in other cryptos. Everything has been whacked. So what's the problem? It says on the website. It says on the website. It says on the website. These things go down 85%.
Yeah. Could I add to your analysis? No, with all the, if you had instead of looking at a hex as an instrument, you look at the whole industry. That is the phenomenon that's happening. No over leverage problems, bad coding, scammers, and the market is purging all those bad projects. And I wanted to know your opinion specifically, Mandalorian, because I know you have a very interesting insight in all these liquidations, and people who are noobsters are learning, not my keys, not my coins. Okay, I got it. Don't put it in an exchange. Do you think there's going to be a process of maturity? And for me, there's a huge hex potentials, because after the house is burned, the survivors, which for me is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Hex, are going to. Do you think there's going to be an impulse in maturity of the market? That's my question for you, Mandalorian. Thank you.
Yes, the market's being forced to mature right now. We're watching it happen in real time. You can't have billions of dollars get flushed out of the system up like a fart in the wind, and have the market and the users of the market not mature. That's literally impossible. Everybody is going through a maturity curve right now. So at the same time, the naysayers that have been, really negative on Richard Hart, for whatever reasons that they have, they're disappearing very fast. He's on Fox Business, right? You got BitBoy flat out saying, I love the guy at this point, and he's the most intriguing guy in all of crypto right now, right? You didn't have that before. You have Pulsechain coming. When Pulsechain comes and the tech is great, and Hex is literally down just like all the other top 20, 30 cryptos, 85, 90%, and comes right back like everything else, what is there to talk about? What is there to talk about post bear market going into the next bull, and everything is great? Pulsechain's great. Hex is still there doing the same thing it's always done. What is there to say about Richard, about Pulse, or about the individuals who helped out during the sacrifice sets? Nothing. So yeah, the natural outworking right now, I can tell you, not just in our community, but outside the community. I've been in a lot of spaces for Voyager, a lot of spaces for Celsius, BlockFi, all that. And the narrative is they're learning the hard way. And they're learning that, yeah, I should not be putting my keys in other people's hands chasing yield anymore. Can
you give me an example? An example of, I've never been in those chats, but yeah, well, what's an example of that?
Me in a chat with like thousands of people speaking to groups of people.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I can't even imagine.
Literally the conversation that, look, guys, it's time to stop sucking middlemen deep. Period. Who has been telling people about it? Richard Hart. And I'll be honest with you. I'm not just a Richard Hart guy and just a Hex Pulse guy at all. But he needs to be given the credit where the credit's due, and it's happening. People are starting to realize that Richard was right about absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. So here's the thing. Whether you like a person or not, whether you like what they do or how they talk or how many watches they have or if they twerk or not. The one thing in life that I know at 45 is that when you know that a person is telling the truth, provably, quantifiably telling the truth, and then it gets proved out, that tends to repeat itself. That tends to lend to credibility over time. That tends to break down false narratives over time. Does it not?
I agree with you, brother. Put your money where your mouth is, and as an industry, they will start seeing like, oh my God, I used to be in Celsius DeFi and everything. Oh, they went bankrupt, or I can't withdraw my funds. Okay, what do I do next? Two options. I drop the towel and never go into crypto, or I go back into crypto and, okay, let's go back to the basics. Which projects are actually serious and have not your keys, not your coins, and audits and immutable? Now it's kind of like interesting phenomenon that's going to happen or continue to happen. No, what are your thoughts?
Pulsechain, when it goes live, when it does, it's only going to be bullish for Hex. Hex is proving itself as a top global cryptocurrency. It just is. It just is. And it's down the same percentages as all the other blue chip tokens or coins, except for it's paying out way more yield trustlessly. Literally, what is there to complain about? What? Like, give it to me. Like, open your fucking mics and tell me what there is to complain about. When you compare Hex to all the other cryptos out there, what are you complaining about? Are you complaining about you bought the top at 50 cents? Well, okay. I'm sorry that happened, but that's not Hex's fault, right? That you bought a top.
And at least you can withdraw and everything, because what was happening in this cycle was, oh, I put my coins there. Oh, I can't do shit. The company went bankrupt.
Yeah. No different from freaking buying Bitcoin at 68,000. Are they saying Bitcoin's not going to be around in 5 years, like Top Cat just said? What, Hex isn't going to be around in 5 years? Why? Why are you saying that? Why? So all these people,
I hate people who throw a stone but don't argument well, and he didn't argument well. And I've been watching him for like a year and a half, and
take note. Take note. I didn't block him. I didn't shut him up. And then when he came back in, I immediately unmuted him. ProFX was in the room. I'm like, hey, you want to call ProFX a freaking prostitute to his face? Gone with the wind. Literally bounced the second I told him that. Like, come on, man.
ProFX, if you're online, what do you think that you're being called a prostitute by Top Cat? If you're online.
I mean, Top Cat's just Top Cat, right? He gets bitter in the summertime, I think, or I don't know.
You see how nice ProFX is with that answer? That's ProFX.
Gentlemen, distinguished gentleman, ProFX.
100%. That's how he's always been. So to come in here and call ProFX a guy who's like one of our absolute best guys, like best fucking guys, a prostitute, is astronomically disingenuous.
Yo, we have to do a meme or something with that. It's like so funny. Sorry.
Yeah, so just everybody needs to just chill out. I mean, like I said, what is there to complain about regarding Hex? Nothing. Okay? The only thing people might be able to complain about, but you are to have no expectations, is how long it's taking for Pulsechain. But do we want the tech right, or do we want the tech launched not right early? I'd rather wait. I think I think the 15th of this coming up month represents 1 year, right?
Yeah. You know what was funny? I was talking to Top Hat like in the afternoon in my lunch break, and he was saying like, "Oh, Warren Buffett is the best shit and everything," and praising him. And I'm like, dude, that guy is 90 years old plus. He says that crypto and Bitcoin is poison rats, no? So what's the reference, no? But what I told him is a saying of his partner, no, Charlie Munger, which says, invest in few companies and then sit on your ass. And that is what it's HEX. Do the due diligence.
He said crypto's rats, dude. Don't just fiat.
Yeah. It was so funny.
He kept mentioning some.
It seems
group.
that
Is that
more than what HEX is
true?
about, he had more of an issue with the members selling, but they have the right to sell. That's part of the contract. You have the ability to buy or sell. So it seems like in his mind there was some kind of a group agreement to dump on the coin, but even if they did, they're only a small percentage of the holders of HEX.
He kept
It's
mentioning
4
some
cents, and you think it's
group
going to a penny, and you want to try to
went
double your
to
bag and play the
doesn't
game.
know anything about that.
Who the hell?
Exactly. So I wouldn't blame them for trying to bank on the opportunity. If they feel that it's going to go down to a penny, I mean, anybody would want to sell and then buy it back at a penny. It's a risk, but it's just part of the game. So he must have felt like they showed no loyalty when they were promoting loyalty to it by trying to game the economy. But he probably would have done the same if he could.
Man. These guys
I think
can
what someone
only
else does
sell.
with their crypto is their fucking business. I don't think it's anybody's business what you do with your money.
Amen. And if you change your mind, you have not only do you have the right to do what you want with it, but you have the right to change your mind what you're going to do with it. So when somebody else is getting mad at you for what you're choosing to do with your own crypto, bro, did you buy my bag, bro?
Yeah, that's like someone getting mad at you because you bought a red t-shirt instead of a blue t-shirt from Walmart. It's like, what's the difference?
That's fucked up, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
When you buy me my bag and send it to my wallet, you can tell me whatever the fuck to do with it.
And there's even a level of imposition, like you should do this.
You got to remember this too. Everyone is going to do what's best for themselves at the end of the day. Like, you could talk community and all this all day long, but at the end of the day, people are going to do what makes them money. Most people, at least.
As far as I'm concerned, HEX is doing fine. If you just want to talk about HEX, it's not down any more percentage wise than any other large crypto. And you have to measure from the bottom up, not from the top down. You're down 80 something % from the top. That's normal. That's like par for the course, is it not? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I love what you're saying. Mandalorian, could you do the experiment of explaining to like people who are not in crypto to understand, besides that, because that's advanced, but what happened in the industry in the basic sense of a leverage, bad code, and scammers, and why HEX is a superior product and Phoenix moment, in my opinion. But like for a person that doesn't know crypto, how would you explain it?
I don't do that. Right? So if I've got beautiful cigars to sell, I'm not trying to sell those cigars to people who don't buy cigars, bro. It's a waste of my time. If I'm trying to build a really good basketball team, I'm not going to go anywhere but to the basketball courts. So number one, I don't try to convince no coins. Why would you try to convince on these subjects?
Yeah, because through paying, through exchanges that disappear, you can withdraw, BlockFi, everything we were talking about, Mandalorian, Voyager, DeFi, BlockFi, whatever. Oh, look, we can agree that fundamentally it's a systematic issue of the industry. And there's not only a price fluctuation, which is normal in the industry, say 2017 and before, but there's a systematic issue, no, of over-leveraged code. What are your thoughts?
If you have to give your keys to a third-party counterparty in hopes that they can generate you yield somehow, you're going to get scammed. The only, for the most part, it's just so obvious out there now. How are they generating you yield? It's been proven. They take your money fractionalized, and then BlockFi sends Celsius, and then Celsius takes their money and sends it over to wherever the hell there's 3AC, and then 3AC sends it over to freaking Luna, and it's literally a Ponzi on a Ponzi on a Ponzi, all hoping to generate 10 fucking percent APY. So when the whole thing tanks and everything gets liquidated, everybody's fucked. Because you were trying to generate yield from a system who's paying out yield to generate them yield, right? So big lesson learned. How does Bitcoin work? Do I have to go and suck middleman D to get Bitcoin if I'm actually somebody, a network operator? No. I set up my miners and I literally get paid in Bitcoin. It's the same thing with Ethereum. So these protocols are designed to pay out the workmen directly from the protocol. Okay? That's what Bitcoin does. That's what proof of work in Ethereum does. That is what HEX is created upon. Right? That is what there are other smart contracts out there now that are doing this flawlessly, right? And they generate the yield in a very honest way that's 100% transparent, where you don't have to give your keys in hopes to pick up some pennies while jumping in front of a freaking freight train. That's what these people did. They were going after a little bit of yield, sucking middlemen D, and in doing so, they jumped in front of an Amtrak train. And that's what we're seeing.
And many more stories, no? And that's the maturity of the market. They thought like, oh, crypto's easy. No, I can keep it on my phone. I can keep my crypto on my phone, buy some tokens and blah, 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 and I'm rich, equal to rich. Oh my God, this cycle. Oh, I saw, the not your keys, not your coins, bad code, etc. And that's for me a very huge opportunity in the market.
Here's the thing too.
Because who are the survivors? Who are the survivors of people? I mean, because you, Mandalorian, talk about, people who are into crypto and stuff like that. But let's imagine average Joe. The average Joe is realizing some important lessons that he paid. He didn't go to school. He didn't take a course, or maybe he did, but whatever. But he's paying for his mistakes in the market. And that is a huge opportunity in the capitulation phase, in my opinion. What do you think of the phenomena? How people will relate different? In my opinion, it's going to be like more average Joe is like, oh, I thought crypto was easy. It's just a game. No, no, I have to actually keep my coins. Oh, actually, I have to do. I think there's going to be an evolution of learning through pain. What are your thoughts?
thoughts are the easier it is in crypto, the more exposed you are to losing all your money. There's a learning curve to doing crypto the right way. And all those people who thought they could just sign up for Voyager and sign up for Celsius and give their keys away, the easy way, if you will.
You deserve to get wrecked.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I wouldn't say they deserve to get wrecked, because a lot of them just didn't get the education that Richard was telling everybody about. No, how many people even know to onboard their friend with a hardware wallet and keeping their keys and not giving their keys away to centralized exchanges? Very few.
I feel like that's the first thing anyone should learn. I mean, you're just even type crypto on Google, like how to do it. Like that's like the first thing I ever learned was to just get a hardware wallet. So I would say it's common sense, but it's really not that common, I guess.
It's not. It's the exact opposite is happening out there in terms of just general onboarding. You know, the centralized exchanges aren't telling you that shit. They want all
people are definitely still buying the Robinhood people and shit. It's disgusting, honestly.
You think Coinbase is doing trainings on how to set up your hardware wallets and take the tokens off the fucking platform? That's not happening.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, but guys, I mean, remove your
And
emotion.
you know what's the interesting analysis, Mandalorian? That many people are very, what's your opinion, no? Or the rest. But they blame the market on like, oh, it's Celsius. Oh, it's BlockFi, coin by coin. But what they don't analyze, it's a market conflict of interest. It's the whole industry that we have to change. It's the whole industry that is having problems. What are your opinion on industry-wise, not coin by coin basis?
There really isn't like it's out there. We're all experiencing it in real time, right? It's not even about my thoughts. It's just about reality, in quotes. The reality is that the emperor has no fucking clothes. Most of this shit is all trash. Most of this stuff is Ponzi bankonomics that's just been imputed over to crypto. That's it. There is nothing else. You're witnessing the same type of shit that's been going on in the bank stuff now happening in crypto. Except for you're not FDIC approved, insured, and when you lose all your money, they just file for bankruptcy, and you get 1/100th of what you had in their back. Is that why Satoshi made Bitcoin? So you can suck crypto bank middlemen, D?
For me, for example, is the analysis of conflict of interest. The guy who's talking to you, what is his interest? And where's the conflict of interest? That's why the whole industry. No, I mean, I was really proud to see the interview of Fox Business because it's kind of like a small milestone. I mean, come on, after 1 year of gatekeeping and censorship, we got to celebrate this. I mean, wow.
I think they didn't do it justice, to be honest. I think they kind of like with the questions made him look, trying to trash him a little bit with the trolly questions and shit. I really didn't like that interview, to be honest. And I thought if they spent a little bit more time with him, he could have actually shined, but they didn't really give him a chance to really, show what he's about and what this is all about. That's how I took it, at least.
The reality of that stuff is that it really just shows that Payne doesn't know shit. Because he
doesn't know a goddamn thing. Yeah, that guy's clueless as fuck. He's an AMC, for God's sake.
Yeah, but here, if you go back and you watch the 5 full minutes of the interview, Richard, like for people that are intellectually not dead, the people who actually listen to the words of an individual, he did an amazing job with that interview. I mean, he really, really did. And that's not a small thing. I mean, he can now say that he's been on Fox Business, and I'm sure that he'll come back because the truth keeps happening connected to Richard Hart, right? Everything he's saying.
I was amazed personally. I mean, he's used to live streams of at least half an hour, but the average is, I think, 4 hours, between 1 hour and 8 hours. And how he could synthesize and respond to the host in 5 minutes, for me, is formidable, in my opinion. And
Do you all know
interviews
how?
in live
I'm
TV
sorry.
are not easy. Yeah, just to end, excuse me, double.
I think his debate against Peter Schiff is awesome, though. If I ever wanted to show somebody Richard Hart, I'd send him to that debate where he debated Peter Schiff on gold. That was like fucking awesome, to be honest.
Do you all know how the interview got set up, or how they knew about him, or who was a contact?
Well, Payne's been following Richard, you know, and then there was some tweets that went out a couple weeks back from some community members, and he, you know, that's when he tweeted back, as long as he brings his, you know, his spinning watches, right? and then all of a sudden he's on a show within a couple of weeks. So we know that Payne's watching Richard. I mean, there's no way he could know that he's got a bunch of Rolex and spinning watches unless he's looking at some of his live streams. So these people are paying attention, you know, and I do like the fact that, in a way, that he started with some of these questions because he was instantly able to dispel them. Like, did you guys watch Trayvon James?
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
right. So he was able to answer the question about like the spam king. He's like, guys, I paid a $500 fine because a guy got mad. I sent him an email, bro.
yeah, but stupid people, like dumbass people in the world, will see that, and even they're so dumb that they would let that create FUD in their mind about it. Like, it still plants that seed that he might not be legitimate, you know, which kind of sucks.
Those are not people that have any money, bro. For the most part, people that are accomplished business people, entrepreneurs that think with a business mind would never allow that to inform their decision.
True.
It is true. It is true.
Amen, brother.
No, you don't get the real information in a 2-second soundbite set up that way. And secondly, he was able to answer those two questions very simply. He destroyed the Ponzi thing. Like
Oh yeah,
he did it so
he did do that.
quickly. He did it so quickly that Payne just had to move on. And then
Yeah.
he was doing so good in his analysis of the difference between Hex and Bitcoin. Payne had to like jump in there and like, you know, try to over talk him. And Richard didn't let him. Richard didn't let him stop his thought until he was done with it, which is very strong, you know. And it sounds like they're going to have him back. I mean, from the ending of that interview, it sounded to me like he'll probably get an invite back, you know. So these are all good things, man.
Mando? Hey,
What's up?
hey, it's Yoon. Yeah, and another thing is, before he even started, before the commercials went on Hex was on the screen, which I don't see many memes, I don't see many screenshots of. But if you go look before the commercials, Hex is on the screen. Hex.com is on the screen with a black diamond on the front page. Like, that is a great celebration. That is awesome. You don't see that a lot. You don't see any other cryptos being on Fox News on the front page on that screen too. So
Yeah.
even though he hammered in with the annoying questions, like y'all have been saying, he killed it with the answers. And if you just review it, you know, positive or negative news is still going to create some kind of a recognition on branding, you know, which is good overall.
Yeah, I mean, he killed it, and then threw in education, and then at the end, Payne asks him, okay, well, what's going to happen in the crypto markets? And he's like, I called the top on the day, right? He's like, no, I didn't know that. He's like, call the top on the day. And then he's like, okay, well, will you call the bottom for us? It's like, hello, okay.
And then he did. And then he did.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I'll call it when it hits 11K. There's your
11K and
bottom.
pray.
Yep, and it was my boy Miles, who last weekend I went on with went on a boat trip with him. He's the one that actually tweeted that and said, "Hey, why don't you do an interview with Richard Hart?" Which shows that, and Miles has basically been in Hex for about a year. He lives in my city in New Orleans, and it just shows you that anybody with any kind of small reach can just make such an impact on the community. So going out there, being positive, spreading the message, no matter who you are, you could be, you can have 200 followers and make a big difference. So it should also inspire anybody at any level to do what they can as far as, spreading the awareness of Hex.
Absolutely, man. And if you were one of those guys that got introduced in the 30 to 50 range, right? It's the same thing as getting introduced to Bitcoin in this 45 to 60 range. There's literally no difference. So if you're buying in the 1 cent, 2 cent, 3 cent, 4 cent, 5 cent range, it obviously just evens out your bag super, super well. But guys, don't get emotional about crypto. There's no, if you're emotional, you over leverage yourself in something that you were not prepared to go down 85%. You should just never do that, right? And you need to know what part of the cycle you're in. Like, do your studies on Bitcoin cycles. Know when a Bitcoin cycle starts. What's the average time frame of when it ends? Always make sure that you're taking some profits on the way up. The problem is most of these people, they don't know how to take profits, and they're either all in or they're all fucking out, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. But don't blame it on Hex, because Hex has done thousands of X from the bottom to the top, and from the top to the bottom, we're down 80-something%, which is literally par for the course in all of crypto, including the biggest cryptos that have ever existed, Bitcoin and Ethereum. And Hex has done that, paying out millions and millions and millions in trustless yield. Well, these other protocols haven't been doing that, right? So to me, there is no other crypto that has outperformed Hex in that sense.
The liberation moment. And what is your opinion, Mandalorian? But the market that suffered will look back into the instruments and say, oh, Hex is actually really cool. And it's actually, I confirmed it with my auditors, I confirmed it with my developers, and it's actually immutable. And oh, okay, I got it. Well, what do you think about the I got it moment? Do you think it's this year or next year?
I think that it comes at the end of this bear going into the next bull, when Hex cycles back up to the new all-time high ranges and goes back 30, 40, 50 cents or whatever, and Pulsechain launches, and you have continued flawless operation and flawless yield being paid out, right? And people have learned that, Hex just went through its first astronomically shitty bear market and came out the other end perfect. Like, what more do you want at that point? Right?
Awesome. I mean, can I tell you a really joke? What for me is capitulation. It's like losing your virginity. you might have had good sex, you might have had bad sex, but you had sex. I mean, many of the industry are going through the first cycle, no?
That's a good analogy, man. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have it, you're doing better than most, regardless, right?
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Was your first time? Was your first time wonderful?
Bro, I'll pass on that. The Fifth Amendment.
No, actually, it sucked.
My first time, holy shit. Just rocked the living daylights out of my ass. Literally took advantage of me, bro.
What was his name? No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Man. No joke. Full bore, got me drunk, and just did whatever she wanted to do. It was freaking funny as hell.
No, mine was more like vainilla, more like relaxed, but boring.
Anyway, getting back with Richard, I think that people are misdirecting their emotions on to other people, maybe onto Hex, depending on where they bought. And I think that stuff comes from the frustration of the when of Pulsechain launching, right? This dragged on kind of a thing. I think that's where most of the frustration comes from. It's just the when Pulsechain, right? Because people put in probably more than they should have, thinking that they were going to get it quicker, like faster, right? A faster launch, a faster deployment. So I do feel that frustration on that side of things. But however, look at what happened with Hex, right? The same exact thing. It took, I think, 1.5 years. Hey, I think we can get it done in 6 months. And it took 1.5 years. And those individuals who were patient, look at the rewards they're reaping right now. Right? So we're not talking about launching a smart contract on Ethereum. We're talking about launching an entire blockchain and doing something never done before with a lot of security vectors that they want to make sure are buttoned up. So to me, it's like, can we not give the guy a little bit of extra time to make sure that everything is good? In the meantime, we're going through the bear market. There's not much going on outside of that. There's a few amazing things going on, but there's not a lot of things that you want to be doing. And look at all of the outworkings of the bear market that have just all heavily fallen into Richard's favor, in the sense that all of the things that he's been educating on have all come to pass. That just lends credibility to Richard. It's still doing great. It's down the same percentages as all the other big blue chip tokens. I mean, this all just continues to lend more credibility to Richard. So, guys, relax. The only thing that I feel, my brothers and sisters, is just we thought Pulsechain was going to launch in X amount of time, which informed our sacrifice amount decision, and it's taking longer than we thought. That's the only bitch in this thing, right? But you shouldn't have put as much in as you thought. It was no expectations, and if you software's hard, and you should have known that there could have been complications. It's freaking blockchain. I really don't see any way to look at Richard and say, or anyone in the community and say anything to them. The one thing I personally would like to see is just more engagement from Richard. Like, you got our money, great. Just give us some more engagement. Like, give us a live stream, give us an update. Not that he works for us, he doesn't. Not that he has to, he doesn't. Just get in his face more often. If Hopkinson can do it, you can do it, Richard. Like you love the community, right? And he's really good at it. I mean, I was in his space the other day. I think most of us were for hours, and it was just freaking awesome. Like Tangent was in there in this awesome Bitcoin debate, just genuine Richard style, just killing it. You know, we just need more of that. Other than that, man,
Do you have a link for that? That would be awesome. That link of the spaces.
Yeah, I tweeted it out. Let me see if I can grab it and pop it in here. Give me a sec.
No, but I get your feel, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure if you go look through the links in the channel, if you go back whenever that was earlier in the week, you can probably find it. Or just search for space or spaces maybe. You might find it that way.
Thank you.
I've got it. I'm gonna pop it into the chat here. All right. So I just popped that in there. It's my Twitter. It's a tweet that I tweeted with the spaces, recorded spaces link in it.
Mandalorian, how would you explain the current market situation to a non-coiner, somebody that's interested in going into Hex? How would you explain what's going on?
I don't. Like, QB, like, you're going a little overboard with it. Like, the less you say to more people, the more conversions you get. You can't take somebody who knows nothing about the market and try to blow their minds with everything going on in the cryptocurrency space. That's just not helpful, right? What is helpful? What's that?
Oh, amen. On the spot. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. So ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice, right? If you want to introduce somebody to Hex, focus on freaking Hex. And guess what? Don't talk about the OA and don't talk about the AA and don't talk about all these crazy fucking things that you don't need to talk about because none of it's meaningless. I mean, none of it's meaningful to the individual. They don't need to know that information. They need to know how to set up their security, how to set up their hardware wallet, how to get ETH so they can swap into freaking Hex and put it in their wallet. That's it. Right? And then they can start the journey, right? And asking questions and diving a little bit into what's going on in the market. And you have those conversations over coffee or over Zoom or whatever, you know? So it's you start with the chief cornerstones the things that people really do need to know, right? And then you build the building from the cornerstone. You don't try to put the roof on before you got the foundation built. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, go ahead. Interesting.
Like if somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, Mando, I'm ready to start. I've never bought crypto before," right? I'm going to say, "Okay, you know the first thing I say is, okay, great. How much you got?" Right? That informs to me, okay, you got 10 grand. Okay, great. Do you have something in mind? Do you want Bitcoin, Ethereum? What do you want? Let them tell you what they want. Okay. And then when they tell you what they want, based on your knowledge in the industry, you can say, "Hey, I'm not an advisor and this isn't an advice, but let me give you a couple things that I think you might want to look into. And then we can take it from there." So it's a very straightforward conversation, but you start with the foundation and then you build the building from there, man.
That's a more natural talking point because, yeah, if you start with, okay, so crypto has a lot of problems. And we have liquidation problems and this and this. It's different.
Focusing on all that stuff and talking about all that stuff, and it's literally meaningless to a person who's never been in crypto. They don't give a fuck. Right?
And crypto by itself is overwhelming, like information set.
Yeah. Look, let's just be real. If you have to narrow crypto down, right? It's hardware wallet, Bitcoin, Ethereum, X, Pulsechain, and whatever safer things you think are good. There's not a lot out there that's good. You know, I can mention a couple other ones, but I can't in here. But other than that, everything else is a bunch of bullshit right now, man. You know?
Yeah, like Munger says, and sit on your ass. Look for those few great investments, do the transaction, and sit on your ass, which is what is HEX. It's a stake. That's why people get desperate. No, like, oh, come on, I wanted more action. No, you're staking. That's why you don't have the volume, because when you stake, you don't have volume. You're not trading. I mean, I think the market is maturing to understand that, and it's a huge market. Yeah, at least in legacy.
You know, when it comes to HEX, when it comes to HEX and staking, no one should ever stake HEX without a fundamental understanding of how the smart contract works. No one should ever stake a 5555 or a 5-year or a 10-year unless they understand how the smart contract works. If people are just, just envision a guy coming in with 50 grand, buys HEX just off of some random YouTube video, comes in a VC and hears one guy going, "Oh yeah, I did a 5555." And he just goes and does a 55, has no freaking clue what's going on. Dude, I'm sorry, but that is nobody's fault but the end user, dude. Period.
You press the button, no? You press the button, and it's the same with any coin.
Yeah. So anyway, man, I gotta go. Good to talk to everybody. I came in with Top Cat and he was doing his thing. So that's kind of, when you call my buddy PulseX a prostitute, you piss me off a little bit. So
Thanks for being the voice of reason, Mandalorian.
Thanks, little Mick. Appreciate that. Somebody needs to be sometimes in here, it's just, People are just super too emotional. Let's get back to the foundation, guys. Let's get back to reality. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you for everything. PulseX, how do you feel what Top Cat called you? Prostitute.
I mean, I'm not really offended that easily, so I don't really care. So he's just being Top Cat. That's all.
Thanks, bro. Respects. But I was defending you in the line, man, because no, man, he had so bad arguments, and no. And he offended most of the community, and personally, I accept real debates on data and everything, but he was just like, oh, all you guys are this. Okay, what do you say to that? You know, it's so disappointing.
Yeah, you just have to realize where he's coming from. I think that's all. He's just a little sour. I think he has most of his assets in crypto, and anytime a bear, comes around, it's not happy times for anyone who's got all their assets in crypto, right? So, yeah, he's just kind of mad about that, I think.
Right, and any gossips, PulseX, anything you're excited about that you're willing to share with the community?
You mean besides Pulse launching?
Anything, gossip.
You have a date?
What do you say?
I say you have a date because you said about when Pulse launching, you have a question about that, and I said, do you have a date?
Oh yeah, that good old question. Yeah, no. Unfortunately, we don't have a date yet, right? So, I'm still in the camp, and I'm gonna keep on saying it until the date passes. I guess that I still think it's easier to fork Ethereum before the merge happens, right? Before they go to proof of stake themselves, because then they have like 2 or 3 executables that have to run it, right? You got one executable running the ETH, the data layer, then you have another executable running the beacon chain doing the consensus model, and it would be a little bit more work for the devs to program that in, I would think, right? So right now they have it working with the normal consensus model. Yeah, they're changing it from the Solidity side, being in the EVM contract to the Go Pulse code, right? So they're moving up, higher up a level basically, so it's more efficient. Yeah. So I don't know. I really think that they're going to launch before ETH goes to merge and goes to proof of stake, right? I just think it's so much easier for them. And we don't even have a date for the ETH merge yet. a specific date, sometime in August, maybe September, by the sounds of it. They pushed back they apparently just pushed back the difficulty bomb 100 days. But what's funny is it was still like 69 days away when the article happened where they said they moved it back 100 days, which was really confusing to me because that means you're already 30 days in, or 30 days into the difficulty bomb kind of going off. I don't know. It didn't really make much sense to me. But it looks like the difficulty bomb was moved into September, second week of September, something like that. So that looks like a soft target, I would say. So I'm sure in the next month we'll figure out when the actual merge for Ethereum is going to go live, right? They're going to announce it. They have to. And then, I would expect Pulsechain to launch a week or two before that, possibly. And then if we miss that date, then I don't know. I don't have a good answer. If we miss that date, then, maybe it is, a longer time period off, because then the devs are going to have to do more work to make sure that the fork works correctly, right? With the different consensus model. So I'm still hoping, crossing my fingers, it'll happen this summer. Before the summer ends is what I'm looking at, I think. I mean, maybe they'll push ETH back a little bit more, but I think they've got one test net left to go. They just did another one yesterday or the day before, something like that. So they've got one more test net to migrate to proof of stake, and then it's the main net. So they shouldn't be too far off. So we'll see. Just got to keep kind of keep ourselves aware of what's going on there.
Because you hear a lot of you hear a lot of information about that. What you're calling, you have more knowledge about that, about the Ethereum fork. But they are always saying that it costs a lot of time, and it's approximately about 4 years that it will emerge. But if I hear you now, it's just around the corner, right?
Well, so there's different stages to it, right? So like if you're talking about ETH 2.0, it's very ambiguous, like what you're talking about. Are you talking about the complete ETH 2.0 or the first step to going to ETH 2.0, right? And Vitalik changed the name, at some point, said, we're not going to call it ETH 2.0. We're going to, call it something else. We're going to call it the consensus merge or whatever. I don't know what they are, right? But they basically gave it two stupid names. It's not as easy as 2.0. So the first step is to move the consensus model to proof of stake, right, which uses the beacon chain as the proof of stake model, and then Ethereum is just a data layer, right? That's the first step. That should be this year. I mean, they've postponed that for years now, but it looks like it's more or less around the corner. It's not going to affect gas fees. It's not going to make it really that much better. Maybe they'll be able to get like a 1 second faster block time. That's basically about it. They're going to get maybe 1 second block time increase, and nothing else is going to change. It's still going to be just as expensive. When it completes ETH 2.0 is when they have the sharding done, right? And that's, Vitalik said earlier, I believe this year, I think it was, or the very end of last year, he said, it still looks like sharding is 6 years away, development wise or whatever, right? But so to go to sharding, that's when they basically make copies of the Ethereum chain, and then because you have multiple chains, then the gas fees can be reduced because you're effectively parallel processing all the networks, right? It's the same thing that Pulsechain is doing right now, right? When it launches, we're kind of effectively a shard of Ethereum, right? We're a copy of Ethereum. All the projects are there. So any projects that want to adopt Pulsechain, to our model, can do so right now. They don't have to wait 6 years to get on the cheaper chain, and everything should work the same. It's just going to be faster, better, cheaper. But that's 6 years away, supposedly, according to Vitalik.
Bro, can I ask you something?
Sure.
All right, brother, I got a question regarding, when the people they say like 5x or 10,000x, it's from the all-time low. Am I correct?
I mean, that, that's up to debate, right? Depends on what you're talking about. Some people talk about sacrifice price. Some people say all-time low. Normally, when we're talking about it, especially with HEX, you start with all-time low. Most of the time, you go with all-time low.
All right, so basically, let's say that let's say that we dip back to 0005. Can we go from there like 2,500x, or what is your prediction? I know it's in the end, it's just a prediction, but give me your shot. What do you think? As an admin, what do you think? What's your prediction for 3 years?
Oh, 3 years? Um, can you mute your mic actually while you're not talking?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 years. Interesting. So the sacrifice price is 3 zeros and a 1, technically, right? Is the average price. So it could actually dip below the sacrifice price. So it could be 4 zeros and let's say a 5, or 4 zeros and a 1. Who knows? Right? 4 zeros and a 1 would be a 90% drop in the average price. So from there, it obviously makes it easier to go up because it's a 10x back to sacrifice price. And then, normally if I'm looking at 1 year or 2 years, I'm thinking in the 100 to 1,000 range typically. So, 3 years, you could probably see it 2,500 from the all-time low. I don't see a problem with that necessarily.
All right, so basically, you're saying like we can reach like the 20 cents. Do you believe that we can reach the 20 cents in 3 years?
Whoa.
Yeah, I think, before or by the end of the next bull cycle, I think we can probably hit the 20 cents. I think that's within reason.
Weehaw!
All right, thank you so much, man. I'm good with that. Like, like 1 cent, I'm totally good. Anyway, thank you so much for giving me the time, guys. Thank you so much.
The question is, will fiat be worth anything 3 years from now? That's the real question.
Yeah. It's easy to make all these tokens, worth a lot of fiat dollars if fiat dollar is only worth like a cent or two.
Yep.
It's the same thing with the testnet right now, right? You look at the testnet and everything looks glorious, right? Because they have the USDC pegged to $1, right? But then realize that's the copy and it's not redeemable. And so that's probably going to be worth like, let's say 3 cents, right? So now take everything that you have, divide it by 33, right? And that's probably closer to the price of what you're going to see all these assets on Pulsechain when you launch. That would be my guess, at least.
So if there's that proof of stake, what Ethereum is emerging, it's around the corner, but it's probably effectively done because of the protection of the environment, or is it also is it more layers? Can they make more out of it, more contracts, or is it faster? What's the reason why they did it? Why they do it for the environment or something else? If you know that, I don't know.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Now, okay, you said they make now the proof of stake, Ethereum, but why are they doing that? Because the fees are not cheaper. Is it because of the environment that some like the European Union, our proof of work was they were in meetings and saying that they want to forbidden it. Is the reason that they make it now for safety, that it's not forbidden in some places?
I mean, from what I understand, they've been working on this basically since like the beginning, right? Since like, yeah, for like 5 years now, they've been working on this or more. So it's not necessarily anything recently that came up. Like the European Union almost passed that bill that would have outlawed mining. So Bitcoin and Ethereum would have, had problems depending on the timeline of when they, activated the law or whatever. So it's nothing to do with that specifically, but I think it's just a general, probably consensus that, hey, this is a waste of energy. And if we can do it with proof of stake, it's just a more efficient system where we're not wasting resources, for no reason, right? If proof of stake is just as good, for decentralization and governance, then yeah, you can just use that.
And it has proven itself. Is the Binance Smart Chain also proof of stake, right?
Yeah, so Binance Smart Chain is delegated proof of stake, right? Which is basically what Pulsechain was modeled after, right? When Richard came up with the idea, he didn't want to create anything from scratch necessarily, right? So basically, he looked at Binance Smart Chain and said, yeah, that's a good model. Delegated proof of stake is a good model because Ethereum is going to be proof of stake. It's not going to be delegated proof of stake. There's going to be a lot more nodes on Ethereum proof of stake as well. So anyways, when Richard looked at it, he said, yeah, Binance has been running for a few years. They look good. They're a fork of Ethereum. Everything works the same. So we can actually just mix the consensus mechanism, take it from Binance Smart Chain, use that. It's proven out for 4 years or something like that now. Use the data layer from Ethereum, and we're all happy, right? Take the best of kind of both worlds, right? But then I think the devs realized that and the community, our community definitely has realized afterwards that the Binance code itself is kind of a ticking time bomb. And so our devs basically had to, go through a lot of the code and rewrite a lot of it, right? They weren't able to just, easily grab it all, right? The model is there, but it wasn't annotated properly. A lot of the fixes they put in were just, I guess there's just fixes in there, and like there's no comments on the code of what, why it was fixed, why it got changed, that sort of thing. And so you really have to like compare old versus new to see what changed. And then you're guessing like, hey, why did they change this variable, or why did they change this condition? And you'd have to go back and like, figure out what they did. It's just kind of a wrecking ball.
But the guys who are building Binance has a lot to do with it. And are they aware that it is a ticking time bomb, and are they working on it to prevent it? Who was building on Binance Smart Chain?
I mean, from the articles that I was reading, it's basically like one or two guys just maintaining the code, right? And so they're basically they're doing what they're doing, and they probably know what they did. Maybe they'll remember it. Maybe they need to jog their memory when they go look at it later. But it's not being done in a professional manner, right? And that's why Binance Smart Chain is kind of just a ticking time bomb.
So actually, you're saying it's possible that it gets hacked, like, because I'm so amazed about the Pancake Swap. What they are building on that. It's also on the Binance Smart Chain. They have a lot of pools, farms, and it works perfectly for years. But actually, you're saying it's a bit tricky, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of being held together with like glue, right? So it's only a matter of time. But if they keep up this maintenance model, it's only a matter of time before they do something wrong and basically screw something up, right? Before there's an inflation bug or vulnerability, or something else, that affects the network.
something to keep in mind, right?
All right, I gotta go. Spend some time with my family here.
Okay, thank you very much for answering. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too. Talk to you guys later.
So, do you think Richard Hart will get more media or less media in the coming weeks, months? Personally, I think after 1 year of gatekeeping or more, after Bloomberg article and Fox Business News, we're going to see a lot more movement, which is normal in other cryptocurrencies. But the difference is exactly this. So I'm happy that we're going to see that. So if you had a simulation and a stake today, what would you do? And stake, what would you do?